Okay, now I'm live on YouTube. I didn't hit the button. But what's up, you all? We'll let you all get in, maybe give it about 3 more minutes because I just clicked the button for YouTube. Um, it's going to be a React video today. What's up, R&B Estate? You all should be able to hear the audio pretty well on YouTube. You all should be able to hear pretty well. Hope you all having a great day. Let me give it a few more minutes. And then I'm going to get started. And if you all want to watch the video, you can just come to my YouTube channel. Hold on a second. Let me put that on here real quick. What's up, Oni? What's up, Umaquai? I saw you on live with some people, and I had to shake my head. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. I saw you on some live with some people, Umaquai, and this is what I talk about when I talk about blackness and being black. This is the greatest form of white supremacy is blackness because it's a control mechanism. I always say to be black is to be controlled, but it's a control mechanism. So the goal behind all of it was to get a group of people identified with being a color. If you can do that, you can control them because you control the color. You control where the color lives, what the color does, how the color thinks, how the color acts. Malcolm X even said that the white liberals control the mind, the bodies, and basically the spirits of black people. They're controlled by white liberals. You've never seen when they say black excellence, you've never seen them say black excellence and it didn't involve white people. Like I'm just all this stuff we say, it's just crazy. And I'm gonna do a Zoom next month, and I'm gonna talk about the bLACK and how deep the psychology really goes and where it started from and all this stuff. So I guess I can get started now. It's been 3 minutes. But what's up, Jay Will? But basically, oftentimes there has to be some level of cognitive dissonance to be black, because there's going to be two ideas in your head that constantly oppose each other. One is that America's racist. The second is that you are oppressed. Now, from those two things, if America's racist, then that means you're oppressed. And if you're oppressed, then that means you couldn't possibly be a king or a queen or anything great. You'd actually be inferior. But what's happening is you're saying America's racist and you're oppressed, but you're also saying you're kings and queens and great. It's impossible. So those are two ideas in your head that oppose each other. And what happens is you spend your whole life not letting those two ideas come together. If they do, your brain would explode, because you got to realize, I even made these shirts. Joe Biden said, if you don't know who to vote for between me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. And I said, I ain't black, I'm free. When Joe Biden said that, that should have been a wake-up call for everybody. That should have been a wake-up. That should have been a wake-up call for people to be like, wait a minute, why would this man equate being black with voting for him? How would my quote-unquote blackness or who I am be related to me voting? That should let you know right there that being black is to vote Democratic. Black culture is voting Democratic. Like, that's what black culture is. Black culture is controlled by white liberals. The ultimate form of white supremacy is black culture. And most black people have a victor and a victim mentality at the same time. On one hand, we say we're so great and we're so wonderful and we're so powerful. Then in the very next breath, we crying about being oppressed. It's absolutely insane. It's just a constant contradiction. And when you live out a lie, you're going to get bad results. You see, you're not black. So you're asking God to honor you being black, and God will never do it. Nature won't do it. Nothing will honor you being black because it's a lie. So you're running around trying to force your identity on everything else, and everything else is saying no. And this is why you all are really suffering. You're not suffering because of racism or white people. You're suffering because you in your mind want to be something that you are not, because it's easier to be black. Notice when people, quote unquote, act black, when folks act black, they don't ever act like a black scientist. They don't ever act like a black doctor. They don't ever act like a black lawyer or a black inventor. When folks act black, they act buffoonish. That should tell you something. You never hear black people say, and I say this all the time, you never hear black people say, America's so racist, they won't let me be a doctor. America's so racist, they won't let me be a scientist. America's so racist, they won't let me be a lawyer. You never hear black folks say that. America's so racist, they won't let me be a CEO. You never hear black people say that. You never hear black people say that white America is stopping them from achieving. You only hear black people talk about racism when it comes to what? Criminal activity. Police, crime. You don't hear black people say, you know what? They won't never let me patent my own invention. You never hear them say that. You never hear black folks say that. You never hear black folks say they want to stop me from owning my own business. The funny thing is, the things that we celebrate and promote in black culture literally contradict America being racist. If America was truly racist and truly systemically racist, then you would never be able to achieve. All you have to do is leave out of America, and your passport's going to say American. Leave out of America, go to these other countries, and tell me if the disenfranchised people of those countries have a voice. Do they have holidays? Do they have representation in politics? Black people are represented in every facet of society. So it's impossible for America to be systemically racist. You wouldn't have the chance to do it. All you got to do is just leave out of this country and go tell me where the disenfranchised groups of any other country have representation in that country. You will not be able to find it. What's up, Anonymous? But let me get started with this reaction video. And thank y'all for tuning in.
But how we look at things and the people that we listen to are the people that always selling a bunch of bullshit and no solution. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So the people who really think about this shit, you know, that seen this shit. We was doing this shit. Nigga, Nipsey didn't influence my generation. It's niggas who is already doing this shit for each other. And niggas is waiting on entertainers to do it for, but it's real people out here that's been doing this shit that niggas never look at. And that's the fucked up part, because I need a sensational nigga to tell me how to do something.
Basic psychology. When you listen to people that use the N-word, tell me when it's positive. Tell me when using the N-word is positive. Tupac tried to do it. Tupac tried to do it. Tell me when using nigga is positive. Is he talking about niggas in a positive light? Is he saying it as a term of endearment? No. So even the psychology in his language and what he's talking about right now is black culture. He doesn't realize it. But what he's talking about right now is black culture. But notice his language. Even his language suggests that there's a different, he's talking about niggas. But he's not saying it in a positive way. Even how we identify with each other is a problem. Even what we respond to is a problem. And all this stuff comes from Black culture. You see, white supremacy is really just Black culture. They're not going to tell you that when you go out into the world, you can achieve what you want to achieve because it's all on you. As a man thinketh, so is he. How could that statement, as a man thinketh, so is he, been around for thousands of years? And then one day they tell you, as a man thinketh, so is he, as long as white folks ain't keeping him down. Where did that come from? I'm the master of my destiny. Where did that stuff come from? The little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I know I can. Where did all that stuff go? They put you all in mental slavery. You don't even realize it. And they're doing it now so that you will physically walk into slavery in the future. That's what all this is about. This is about you voluntarily choosing slavery again. No person can be enslaved. You can't enslave anybody because they're going to choose death. We've already gone through the whole slave ship narrative. We've already gone to the fantastical story about the slave ships and how we got over here. And we know it's all BS. So if they lied about the slave ships, they lied about our heroes, what makes you all think that any of this story is real? If Joe Biden got used to have ears lobes that hang and now they connect, what makes you think this stuff is real? You see, the problem is most of you all are double-minded. So you believe that somebody can lie to you, you can prove they're lying, but they'll also tell you the truth. So in other words, when you're double-minded, you trust everything because you're never set on one thing. You hopping back and forth. So no one ever really loses credibility with you. And what he's talking about right now is what we want to listen to. We want to listen to people that look the part. We don't want the truth. We want somebody that we like to tell us something. We don't want the truth. Anybody telling Black folks the truth is going to be ostracized by Black people. This man's on this thing crying. He has tears come out of his eyes because he sees what's going on. And right now, he's on that plantation and he's looking and he's seeing a whole bunch of folks that look like him right across the way that have their own farms, their own houses, their own communities. And he's like, why can't I just walk over there and leave? Only thing keeping him on that plantation is Black culture. Because he feels like if I really tell the truth, I'm going to lose everybody Black. But guess what? You lost them anyway. Because when push comes to shove, you best believe when these people really hit this switch and we really see the apocalypse, Black folks going to want to go back to bondage for safety and comfort and an easier life. I'll tell you that now. And anybody around them is going with them. Let me continue.
But it's a nigga in your neighborhood that's been showing you the fucking way. You see what I'm saying? But niggas don't care about that shit. I need you to have on jewels and all this other shit, which is fucking fucked up. Because you creating a system of people who only look at niggas who have material gains to listen to. And these not the great thinkers of this fucking world. Mm-hmm. It's nobody quoting these niggas as the great thinkers of this world. But that's the niggas who niggas look at. But the niggas who are really in depth and who have solutions for this shit, who don't never think about can't. Never think about can't. Nigga, I'm solution based.
Now, if you listen to him again, he is talking about Black culture. He is talking about Black people wanting to listen to people who don't know what they're talking about. He's talking about Black people wanting to listen to people who don't know what they're talking about with no solutions. And most solutions that they have are not going to work, because none of these solutions I've ever heard deals with the character of the man. They don't deal with the character of the man. That's why it's never going to work. I have not seen one solution that says you have to be a good human being. You got to be a better person. You got to put your faith and trust in God. I don't hear that as a solution. So what's happening is you all are jumping, putting the cart before the horse. You all are skipping 1,000 steps to get to a solution. No, it starts with that person in the mirror. Who is the person in the mirror? And that's what Black people are afraid of, is the person in the mirror. That's why it's so easy to say it's white people's fault. When are you all really experiencing racism? When? Your favorite, not at your favorite restaurant, not at your favorite club, lounge spot, bar, not at your job, not at your favorite store. Where are y'all experiencing all this racism? Tell me. Out of all the places y'all travel that y'all love to go to, y'all going on vacation, y'all doing everything. Where are y'all experiencing this racism? You enjoying life too much. Y'all are enjoying life too much for y'all to tell me that America's racist. If America was like you all said it was, you all couldn't be able to stunt for the ground. It'd be impossible. Let's continue.
I don't listen to problems to gossip with niggas. You know what I'm saying? And I understand. But niggas don't have no fucking heart. And that's the thing. You can't go to war with niggas who love tangible things. And niggas talk that fucking warrior shit, but these niggas is so unproven. They so unproven. But you give your loyalty to niggas who are unproven, who do shit for money, and that's it. They don't do shit for the love of the people. And the biggest commodity of anything is the fucking people. It's no you without the people. Don't give a fuck how much money you got. The pandemic showed, nigga, with no people, nigga, you're nothing. I survived with the people. It's niggas that's growing food when niggas is hungry. Nigga, we got a guard. We growing food for niggas. You ain't got to go to the grocery store. That's the real shit. I don't give a fuck about your Maserati, nigga, because it doesn't help me in the pandemic. When you got a nigga who understands herbs and shit, and he saved your daughter's life, nigga, this ain't shit I gotta guess about. This shit that when I'm holding a fucking my baby and I.
So again, what he's talking about is very prevalent in Black culture, and that is Black culture makes you select a leader that's compromised, meaning that you'll never pick a righteous leader because he's going to hold you or she's going to hold you accountable. So what you all will do is you will constantly pick compromised leadership so that you don't have to get better. This is why Black people, the easiest choice for Black folks to make in voting was Obama. And it was because when Obama was on the scene, Black people didn't have to look at anything. We voting for him. That was the easiest decision that we had to make. We didn't have to get swayed. We didn't have to get deceived. We didn't have to get tricked. We said he's Black and we running with it. And Obama literally destroyed Black wealth in America. Literally destroyed it. Destroyed Black home ownership. Obama bailed out the crooked banks. He bailed out Wall Street, and he bailed out the automotive industry. Instead of bailing out the people, Obama bailed out the crooks that got the people in the position in the first place. And you all love Obama. And not to mention that, he opened up and ushered in Pandora's box with all this LGBTQP, don't forget X, Y, and Z community. Obama might have been the worst president, even probably worse than Biden, which is very hard. But two presidents, they got the most votes from Black people, were the worst presidents in America. That should tell you something. that you all don't know how to pick good leaders because Black culture doesn't promote character, honor, principles, standards, loyalty. It just doesn't. So most people are doing these things unconsciously, subconsciously. Anytime somebody Black does something wrong and it's highlighted, I see the majority of people trying to make what they did wrong right. That's a problem. You think the devil's going to... All these Black folks got this snake bite because they wanted to go on vacation, because they wanted to keep stunting, because they wanted to keep their job, because they wanted to do all, because they wanted to keep buying clothes, because they wanted to keep going to brunch, because they wanted all these, and guess what? And you all think that the devil is not coming to collect. When Satan gives you something, and the snake bite was free, when Satan gives you something, he's never going to let you enjoy it. The only enjoyment you'll ever have is actually getting it. Once you get it, it's a wrap. He'll never let you enjoy it. Let's continue. But this guy's talking about how we just love compromised leadership, how we love unproven people. We listen to people like T.I. and Killer Mike. For what? These people work for the system. The same people telling you all that America's racist, the system is racist, are literally getting paid by the system to tell you that. And you don't think it's a setup?
Man, she this big. And she's 1 year old. And she weighed 10 pounds. And they about to cut her stomach open. And I say enough is enough. Fuck all that. Yo, X, what can I do for my kid? And this nigga talk so cavalier like what I was talking about wasn't shit. He said, nigga, do this, do that, do this. In a month's time, somebody who was looked like she was burnt up from eczema, who weighed 10 pounds, who couldn't even hold food down, who for hours and hours would just rock to the side while her hair was just smooth. I watched her come from that to walking. Now she's 6. Because I relied on somebody who sat down and done the information. I trusted. Because of the day they was gonna cut my kid's stomach open. I relied on the community, somebody who does that for a living, who loves the knowledge of what plants are, who breeds that. And that's the commodity that I needed, and not somebody who sit on the computer all day. Because we can't just do one thing. We have to be able to do a lot of things, because the people who run shit around us, they do a lot of shit. And all the shit they do, they got from us. But we don't capitalize. But we rather be the financial backing for every other ethnic group besides our own. And then we make war with each other. Because I see you doing something, I want to do the exact same thing. Instead of asking you how I can branch from something that comes from my mind. Our children, if we make our children global, if our children are speaking multiple languages, if our children care about other things other than just entertainment, and they know how to grow shit, and they know how to build shit, and they know how to do shit, that's the strength. That's the commodity that you talking about that you have to barter with.
The harsh reality is that he's in this room, and he's in a room with 3 other gentlemen on a show, on a podcast, and they're silent. And they're silent because all day long, they're never around any truth. And the moment they're around some truth, they can't even speak. They can't even speak. Most black people live a lie. It's just a lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. And we don't understand that that lie was perpetuated by people that look just like us. We got all these excuses to why we are the way we are. But I never hear anybody say it starts with self-accountability. It starts with a person looking in the mirror and saying, I'm going to just be better. I'm going to do better. Nobody says that because that's the real work. All this other stuff is just talking. We got to unify. We got to get a black-owned bank. We got to do that. I want y'all to look at the statistics on black-owned banks denying black people loans. Go look up the numbers on black-owned banks denying black people loans. But you won't do it because they told you the white banks do it. So you don't even consider the fact that it ain't a white or black thing. It's the fact that you are a liability when it comes to finances. You are a liability when it comes to finances. That's the problem. White people act like this. Everybody act like something. It's not just white. But like I said before, subconsciously, you've already placed white people on a level that's of God. Think about it. Anytime a white person does something you don't like, it's because they're racist. That means they don't have any human attributes. That means you put them on God level. If they control everything and run everything, that means they're God to you. Let me continue.
Because now you have a community of strong people who can barter with anything because now we speak everything like we used to. You don't find Africans that speak one language because every 100 kilometers it's a different dialect, so they have to learn everything to barter and trade. The thing is, when the number one thing against us is not the fucking racism, it's the propaganda. That's the one. If I can convince people that you are a certain way, that's way stronger than anything.
Now you heard this man just say it. I'm going to repeat it for you all. He said it's not the racism, it's the propaganda. If I can convince a group of people that they are a certain way, that's stronger than anything else. It's not the racism, it's the propaganda. I never have you all answer my question. I ask you, why don't they show you over and over again any other race of people being shot by the police? And I never get an answer. I never get an answer. I asked the guy in my gym one time, he said, I don't know. I said, well, think about it. You're running around here saying police, 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 but the most glaring thing is they don't show you anybody else being shot by the police. I said, think, why not? I said, clearly, they're trying to convey a message to a particular group of people. He's sitting there looking like a broke mouth mule. A broke mouth mule is he's looking, just looking. But he's looking crazy. He's never in his life considered that the media is showing him one group of people being shot by the police. He never even thought about that as a possibility that, you know what, they were doing it on purpose. That man said it's not the racism, it's the propaganda. You're going to hear him say it again now. Now, guess what? Now, they'll listen to him say this because he was street and all this. They like that. If I say it, I'm a coon, I'm a sellout. I just said the same thing. I'm a coon, I'm a sellout. My favorite, I'm a bootlicker. I'm all these things. But when he say it, he's speaking truth and fact, which should let you know that black people don't care about the truth. They care about who's speaking it.
propaganda of that. If I can convince people fucking racism is the trade. The thing is, when the number one thing against us is not the fucking racism, it's the propaganda. That's the one. If I can convince people that you are a certain way, that's way stronger than anything. The propaganda of that. If we fight propaganda, then and we fight propaganda by having character. And showing character, and showing ultimate love. We have to.
Did you hear what this man said? This man said, we fight propaganda by showing character. This man just said, we fight propaganda by showing character. Now, when I say this stuff, I get called sellout, bootlicker, and all this stuff, but I know why though. Because I'm not contradictory. I don't say one thing and do something else, and black folks hate that. Black people hate consistent people. Black people hate folks that aren't double-minded. So they know he ain't out there degrading himself and his people. We can't listen to him. Black folks only want compromised leadership because it makes them feel good to say, you know what, if they doing wrong, I don't have to do right. That's why you rarely hear the pastors in the church talk about character, talk about self-accountability and character. What does that look like? What is my boy say, what does spiritual growth look like? What does it look like? Black culture has done more damage than white supremacy could have ever imagined. Black culture has black people being outraged when a white police officer kills someone, but silent when a shooting happens and a baby gets shot. Literally, black culture has black people celebrating abortion and then silent when these babies are gunned down in the streets. Black culture, white supremacy could never be as destructive as black culture is. And I talk about the character walk all the time, and it goes over most black folks' head because character doesn't deal with skin color. So once you don't deal with skin color, you're finna lose most black folks. You mean to tell me anybody being black? No. They want y'all to believe that all white folks going to hell and all black folks going to heaven. Not from what I see. I don't know what planet y'all live on, but on this planet, that ain't what I see. That man said you defeat the propaganda with character. This man shedding tears on this interview. You defeat the propaganda with character. Let's go.
Propaganda, then and we fight propaganda by having character. And showing character, and showing ultimate love. We have to love each other, man, as hard as they have made us hate each other. On all aspects. Because this is one thing that we have to sell to our people. Fuck the fact that we was in slavery. And not disrespecting it, but that's not the thing that we can push. We have to push. The one thing that we are 100% perfect in is survival. We have survived everything that we've been through. Every single thing. So we can't relish in what we used to be. We have to, where we are now, and what can we do to build better now from what we used to do. And what we used to do was survive together. That saying that we're crabs in a barrel. The thing is this, crabs didn't belong in fucking barrels. If you ever seen crabs in the wild, crabs move together. That's why they always catch them together. And it's not the fact that they're in the barrel, it's the fact that they know that they're supposed to be together. So when one is at the tip of the barrel, the other one clamps on, hoping to drag all the rest of them out of the barrel. It's not it's the crab in the barrel thing. We don't belong in barrels. We in a land that we was brought to. So we have to make do, and we have to clamp on each other and make the best that we can make with everything. Even when people are negative, you have to understand the negative people, you have to be able to use them as well.
Part of this stuff goes back to the slavery narrative, you know, the whole slave ship thing, all this, you know, they don't really have too much proof of that. But anyway, but he's talking about crabs in a barrel, and, you know, crabs are supposed to be in a barrel. And I would venture to say that nobody's putting anybody in a bucket. You voluntarily get in the bucket because the bucket looks better. You think the bucket is better than what you have going on right now. So you hop in the bucket, you know, because you want to be in the bucket, because you thought the bucket was going to be better. And it's just all this stuff comes through character. Somebody asked, could they teach a course on character? You know, I would love to talk about character to young children. You know, I would love to talk about it because they don't talk about character. Now, the liberals talk about character, but I guarantee liberal character is based on characteristics, not based on actual character. Because if you're a liberal, you don't believe in character. Like if you're a liberal-minded person, you don't believe in character. You believe that every outside circumstance controls your life and your destiny. So you don't believe in character. You know, part of having character is having faith. Part of having character is trusting God. This is part of character. But I just wanted to just show that video. I have another video coming to react to, but you can catch that video on this Mr. Think Outside the Box. And the guy's name is Ali Sadiq in the Trap with DC Young Fly, Carlos Miller, and Clayton English. You all can catch that. Now let me go to another video. Now I want you to listen. This was played in a school. And I want you to, we've already established that when they talk about the police, the goal is for there to be no police and for there to be an alternative to the police. We've already established that the alternative to the police are going to be robots, Chinese or UN soldiers, and the federal government or the military. So we already know that the alternative to the police is going to be 1,000 times worse than the police. So the goal is to have a militarized America, to have America under martial law. So if that's the goal, then you have to understand that what you're seeing with the police has to be propaganda. They're doing it so that you say, we don't want the police. And then once we don't want the police, say, okay, we got you. And then it's over. The guy's name was, okay, the podcast is Mr. Think Outside the Box podcast. That's the podcast. Yeah, Ali Sadiq in the Trap. Yeah. Mr. Think Outside the Box podcast. But let's get started on this video.
Armed police presence often escalates rather than reduces the risk of violence in a situation. Because police have been trained to see people of color, gender nonconforming folks, and Muslims as criminals, they often treat victims as perpetrators of violence. So if the victim hasn't asked you to call the police, do not, I repeat, do not call the police.
If the victim, this is what she's saying. If the victim has, listen to what she's saying. If the victim, that means the victim of a crime, you see person being victimized, a criminal activity, don't call the police unless they ask. What if they're unconscious? What if they're disorientated? What if their mouth is gagged? What if their jaw is broken? Look, if a victim is if a person is victimized of a crime, don't call the police unless they ask. And this is Black Girl Magic doing this. She got the Badu head wrap. This is Black Girl Magic. And guess what? She support everything. She support the snake bite. She support the LGBTQ agenda. She support climate change. She supports all of the agendas. This one right here. They showed this in a school. And none of you all are outraged. As much victimization that happens in the Black community, as much death, destruction, and damnation that happens in the Black community, you're telling people don't call the police? And the numbers have already shown what's happened when police pull back. The homicide rate skyrockets. We know the statistics. So what you're really saying is you want more death. It might be a man. I don't know. It might be a transformer. I don't know. It might be a transformer. I wouldn't doubt it. This is what they push.
The culture of white supremacy and anti-Blackness is perpetuated by our media, political systems, and social media. You can contribute to making these attitudes unacceptable by challenging white supremacy, even when you're not in a crisis. If you're white yourself, talk to your white family and friends about anti-Blackness and white supremacy. Do it every day, especially when you're in an all-white space. By doing this, you confront the culture without putting anyone else in danger of an immediate backlash.
I'm sorry, you all. It's not Black Girl Magic. It's Black Trans Magic. I'm sorry. It's Black Trans Magic. And now I don't know what America these folks live in. What America do you all live in to when you voice your opinion, you get attacked by white people? What America do you all live in to where when you voice your opinion, you get attacked by white people? Tell me, somebody give me a city. Somebody give me a state. Somebody give me a city or state where when you voice your opinion, you are attacked by white people. Please tell me. Please tell me where Black folks who run their mouth constantly can't run their mouth. Show me where. Show me where. I didn't think so. I didn't think so. This is absolute propaganda and garbage and trash. It's just, it's a lie. That's all it is. And we fall for it. Now you got and I told you all, Black Lives Matter is a pro-trans in leadership organization. Now you got, listen to me. I told you all, Black culture is going to be completely taken over by the LGBTQP, don't forget X, Y, and Z community. They're going to take it over. That means you're going to have to go through that community to get your voices heard. Now, how many of you are willing to submit to the LGBTQP, don't forget X, Y, and Z community to voice your grievances with white people? How many of you are willing to submit to the LGBTQP, don't forget X, Y, and Z community to voice your grievances with white people? Because you're going to have to submit to them to be able to speak against white people, because they're going to be the gatekeepers. And I can guarantee you, not part of their community, your voice won't get heard. Y'all are in for a rude awakening, and I told you all that the same thing that makes you laugh is going to make you cry. I know somebody was laughing, oh, Biden won. Oh, Trump out of office. He about to go to jail too. All that. That same person was crying. They made me take the snake bite. My job made me take the snake bite. Same thing make you laugh will make you cry. And I told you all that this administration was going to completely erase the Black struggle. And once they push this climate change, there will be no more racism. So I'm really curious to see how you all are going to respond when they tell you we ain't doing that. We talking about racism no more. We talking about climate change. I'm curious to see how y'all going to respond. I got a good feeling though. I believe that you all are going to respond like you always do, like some cowards. You know what? America ain't racist no more. We got to save the planet. That's what y'all going to do. I know y'all. But now you got this transformer telling you all, don't call the police. I had someone accuse me the other day of promoting violence towards the trans community. And I asked them to show me a statistic that supports specific violence to the trans community. Of course they couldn't. But my point is the LGBTQP, don't forget XYZ community, is going to be the representation for Black people. This person put this video out and showed it to students, telling people if you're a victim and you see someone that's victimized, don't call the police if they don't tell you. What if they're unconscious? Oh, because victims are often seen as perpetrators by the police. Look at the psychology behind what they're telling you. So in other words, just let crime run rampant. I told you all, they want to get rid of the police. And once they get rid of the police, y'all won't be able to leave the house. Because they're going to say the Black community is too violent, stay in the house. And I saw that. The mayor of DC, I saw that. The mayor of DC said that you can't even learn virtually. Forget coming to school. You can't even take any virtual courses unless you got the snake bite. This is, again, the progressive Blacks are not talking about racism. They're talking about climate change and trans rights and these snake bites. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about race. The Black mayor said, I don't want the Black children to learn even at home without getting a snake bite. But you all won't protest behind that. There will not be one protest behind what that Black mayor is doing. Not one. There won't be one protest behind that Black girl magic telling you and your children, you all can't learn unless you get a snake bite. But you told me that Trump was a dictator. Trump was a dictator, but the Black mayor is telling you, you can't get an education unless you get that snake bite. No protest, no outrage.
Now is the time for all of us who believe in justice to come together. It doesn't have to look one way. You can canvass, you can phone bank, you can write letters, or you can even create art for the movement. Taking it to the streets is always nice. But if you don't have time for that, you could always support the marginalized populations who are on the front lines of this work financially. White supremacy and anti-Blackness.
So now she said, excuse me. Now they or them, he, she, it, or that is saying that don't call the police and give us some money. What's up, Kareem? What's up, Agatis Navi? Now they're saying don't call the police, and oh, by the way, cut us a check too. And y'all don't think it's a scam. Could you imagine if I got on social media and told you all to send me some money? Send me some money because I'm a sellout. So send me some money because I'm saying that America's not racist. Cut me a check because I'm telling you that America's not racist. Now just flip it. They're telling you to cut them a check because they're saying America's racist. If I did it, I'm a crook, I'm a charlatan, I'm a liar, I'm a fraud. If they do it, they're heroes. Make this make sense for me, please. Make that make sense to me. Somebody even said it, that's against the law to deny children education. It's true. Not one protest for these children. These children getting gunned down in the street. Not one protest. Now they're being denied education. Not one protest. But you want to tell me that the white folks are the problem. You want to tell me that white folks are the problem. Now the Transformers asking for a check.
This affects all of us. And fighting against it affirms all of our humanity. It affects all of us. Populations who are on the front lines of this work financially. White supremacy and anti-Blackness affects all of us. And fighting against it affirms all of our humanity.
Stop!
So basically what they're telling you to do is to not call the police because they know you're going to need, so they know that you're going to need the police, but they're telling you to just suffer through it because they want you to get used to not calling the police and just being victimized. So again, if the goal of all of this is to get rid of the police and put the American citizens under martial law, then why would you even listen to the propaganda? If the intent of Planned Parenthood was for genocide of your people, why would you participate? A woman can get pregnant 4 days out of the month, and she's gonna have a cycle for maybe 3 to 5 days. I don't know. But let's just say a week of not having sex. You mean to tell me you can't skip sex for a week versus having an abortion? No solution these folks offer involve self-accountability. None of them. They don't involve self-accountability because they tell you that you don't have to be accountable as long as white folks are in charge. But everywhere I look around, it's black folks doing it. It's black mayors doing it. It's black doctors doing it. There's a black president doing it. Every time I turn up and look around, it's black people in charge doing it. The mayor of Chicago, how good has she been? Mayor Beetlefoot Light Juice, how has she been? Has she been great? Has she been a pillar for the community? Has Chicago gotten better? Of course, it's gotten worse under her watch. No protests, no marches, no riots, no looting, no stealing flat screens, no stealing bundles, no stealing PS5, no stealing lace fronts, none of it. Because they told you when a black person does something wrong, it's because of white people. And you all believe it. But on Judgment Day, it's not going to fly. I can promise you that. A lot of y'all are going to burn. I promise you that. It's not going to be a weeping and gnashing of the teeth for a reason. You think God finna listen you talk about white folks? God gonna say, play the tape, and you done.
Look at this officer's days. I mean, he's frozen. He doesn't know what to do. He is distraught, trying to process what he just did. I mean, this officer is he's he's going through a lot of emotions right now. This is the most realest thing that you can get anytime you see some of these videos, as what it's like to be a police officer, and the most realest you can get to see their human side. A lot of times people think that officers just pull the trigger and they just don't care. They don't care about life, and that's all they want to do is just go out there and try to kill somebody. That's not true. And if it is true, it's only for a very, very small percent of officers that do this job that should have never possessed the badge or the gun in the first place. And I'm not here to make excuses for officers or anything like that, but I've seen so many officers struggle with having to utilize deadly force. It is not a good thing. It's not a pretty sight. And on top of that, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that the number one killer for law enforcement officers is suicide. And it's because they are trying to process all of these real and raw emotions.
Against it affirms all of our humanity.
Stop, stop, stop.
Look at this officer's days. I mean, he's frozen. Just he doesn't know what to do. He is distraught, trying to process what he just did. I mean, this officer is he's he's going through a lot of emotions right now. This is the most realest thing that you can get anytime you see some of these videos, as what it's like to be a police officer, and the most realest you can get to see their human side. A lot of times people think that officers just pull the trigger and they just don't care. They don't care about life, and that's all they want to do is just go out there and try to kill somebody. That's not true. And if it is true, it's only for a very, very small percent of officers that do this job that should have never possessed the badge or the gun in the first place. And I'm not here to make excuses for officers or anything like that, but I've seen so many officers struggle with having to utilize deadly force. It is not a good thing. It's not a pretty sight. And on top of that, I've said it before and I'll say it again, that the number one killer for law enforcement officers is suicide. And it's because they are trying to process all of these real and raw emotions.
The number one cause of death for officers is suicide. The number one cause of death for officers is suicide. Now they're telling you all that these officers, these white officers, are inhumane. They're animals. They savage beasts. All they want to do is kill. But yet they're killing themselves. So what's making them kill themselves? Do y'all think it's easy for folks to just kill and not have any conscience about it? Most folks are torn up by having to kill, even in self-defense. But the irony of it, this is that there's a whole culture of people that celebrate killing, i.e. Black culture celebrates killing. How do we know? Because the entertainment in Black culture involves death and destruction and damnation. So we celebrate rappers that talk about killing. You know, turning somebody into a pack to smoke, knocking somebody's dreads off, making his brains leak, putting holes in his body. We celebrate that. So the irony of our culture showing no compassion, zero. Our culture is glorifying death and destruction. Meanwhile, a police officer is on the brink of suicide because he had to shoot somebody that was trying to kill somebody or him or her. They don't give you all context for a reason. They don't give you all context for a reason. There's a reason why they never give you context. Ask yourself, why don't they ever give me context? Why don't they ever just give me the whole picture? Why don't they ever give me the whole story? Somebody said being Black is being hypocritical. You have to. Just talk to a Black person about any important issue, and I guarantee throughout the conversation, you're going to hear 1,000 contradictions.
White folk get us because we get stuck on symbolism, right? They give us a law, a George Floyd law, but we won't never read the law. So before that ever happened to me, nigga, we was clapping for the Sandra Bland Act. Oh, that's great. They gave us a Sandra Bland Act. Well, nigga, what the Sandra Bland Act really does, it strips the natural citizen away from his due process. Nigga, you don't never see a judge. How can they incarcerate you, nigga? You never see a judge.
What's the last law you done read? First of all, because ain't nobody around me ever been in there for me to go around and march about no law.
But they pass the laws every year.
Every state passes laws every year. Me die from the motherfucking popo.
This nigga on TV just talking. He ain't no.
Now, DC Young Fly is the epitome of black culture and ignorance. DC Young Fly just said, if the police kill one of my partners, I'm going head up. What if your partner was wrong? What if your partner was trying to kill somebody? What if your partner was trying to kill the police? What if your partner was trying to kill themselves? He said if the police kill one of his partners, he going head up. So what's funny is I can guarantee if the police shoot one of his partners, it's going to be justified. This is somebody with a platform. This person's a role model. He's arguing with Charleston White, and Charleston White is asking him, what law have you ever read? What law have you ever read? Do you think DC Young Fly is taking time out to read anything? Of course not. He's just talking emotionally. But black people, black culture tells you you don't have to read. Black culture says if it feels right, it is right. And if it feels wrong, it is wrong. So DC Young Fly is the epitome of black culture and ignorance. If any, and never read a law, barely know his rights, he don't know anything, but yet he got a definite stance on police brutality. Why? It's propaganda. It's the media. He feels this way because of propaganda, not personal experience, not statistics, not facts, not stats. It's all from propaganda. Now you know why they want. You already said, if they kill my partner, I'm going head up. Now you know what the purpose of the propaganda is. It's to get you all to crash out with the police. It's to get you all to crash out with that's the purpose of it. What's up, Uno? That is the purpose of it. He said, the police kill my partner, I'm going head up. And do what? And do what? He's an entertainer. These are the black folks they put in front of you as DC Young Fly. To lead you all into death, destruction, and damnation. He know good and well he ain't going up here with no police. He's a comedian. He's not going to do it. He's a singer and a comedian. He's not going to do it. He loves his life. He likes making money. If the police kill my partner, I'm going head up. Head up to do what? Charleston White asked him a great question. What law have you read? Simple question. You ask black folks a simple question, they're going to do all this. I'm just saying, I'm not all that. Jesse Lee Peterson, one time he said, why is it when I ask black people a simple question, they can't never answer it? I'll tell you why, Jesse. Because black people are searching for the answer they feel sounds the best. They're not trying to tell you the truth. That's black culture. None of this stuff is about race. It's about culture. It's about a culture you've created and that you live by. And if you live by black culture, you most certainly going to die by it. Just emotional rant, ain't talking about nothing. what law have you read? He can't say none, because you know if he says none, then Charleston White wins the argument. So what he gonna do is he'll talk about everything else but reading that law. Finish this statement for me. If you wanna hide something from a black person, where do you put it? Now, why does everybody know that statement? If you want to hide something from a black person, where do you put it? Just imagine black people not knowing in 2022 and they got a phone in their hand. Imagine black people not knowing stuff and they got a literal virtual library in their hand. So that means even when it's convenient for you to read, we're talking about ebooks, Google, all these search apps, even when it's convenient for you to read, we still don't do it. So that lets you know that all that reading stuff is something that we didn't want to do. I wasn't white folks doing that. We got Google right now in the palm of our hand, and we still won't read and look stuff up. That's right, y'all. In the book, y'all know what it is. Let's continue.
Front line.
You ain't from Atlanta.
You ain't no grassroots soldier.
I mean, in Texas
They
all
gonna do you like they
Don't
done
know
Nick
this
Cannon. They gonna do you like they done Nick Cannon. Come on, tell the for a
They
while.
crazy. They ain't done it.
Shit, because
They
you
ain't
ain't
done it.
because you ain't saying.
And I stood up
you
for
ain't,
my partner.
You ain't saying.
You
what
would've took the money.
Say the wrong thing.
I fuck with white people, but you think I'm scared of them?
Yeah, you got
crazy.
Charleston White said, you ain't no grassroots soldier. You ain't on the front line. DC Young Fly, I stood up for my partner. Charleston White said, you ain't finna get Nick Cannon. He said, I stood up for my partner. I didn't take the money. What are you talking about? You on something right now that white folks run. This is what I don't get about these people. These folks be against white people, but white folks is cutting the check. Somebody right now, please explain to me. Please explain to me. Please explain to me. How are y'all fighting against white people and white folks are cutting the check? Can someone just riddle me that? Just riddle me that. How are y'all fighting the system and getting paid by the system? Just riddle me that, please, somebody. Riddle me that, please. All these folks is rah, 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 and a white person literally signing the check. How? Oh, yeah, Charleston White did light him up. I mean, Charleston White lit him up. Because Charleston White works with politicians. He works with judges. He works in the community, so he knows. He knows all sides of the story. He knows. He reads. So DC Young Fly is the typical black person, uneducated, misinformed, emotional. DC Young Fly gets all his information from another person just like him. I stood up for my boy. You stood up for Nick Cannon. I didn't take the money. You still on wilding out? What you mean? You still on wilding out?
Hell,
You got
I got the heart of Moses.
shit. Nigga,
You understand?
hey, say he ain't at no shit.
This boy said, I got the heart of Moses. You are a comedian and a singer. This is black culture. I got the heart of Moses, and white folks is paying you. I got the heart of Moses, and white folks are cutting the check. I got the heart of Moses, and he ain't led his people nowhere. And he ain't led his people nowhere. If you ever want to see black culture on full display and how much black folks don't know, just go watch Jesse Lee Peterson ask your favorite black people simple questions and they can't answer them. He asked them simple baseline questions and they cannot answer it. They make the show about him and not about what he's asking them.
City council meeting. Crazy. He ain't organizing no stop the violence. I know something. Ain't that what I know what you do? I ain't. Yeah. You want to mind somebody kids. You ain't doing that. You want to niggas in 10 years. I'm 10 years. I'm 10 years before I said fuck niggas. You can't take that much.
But don't want y'all to take that. We respect 10 years.
I respect you 10 years. I think I was dumb and stupid like Dr. King. Dumb, stupid ass nigga.
You don't think Dr. King did that? You don't think Dr. King did that?
Dumb and stupid.
You crazy in here.
MLK told you that he led his people into a burning building. MLK told you that he led his people into a burning building. So did MLK do something? If the man that is MLK said, I think I led my people into a burning building, if the man said they done lied to us, if the man said they done tricked us, what did he do for his people? After that, he was killed. So what did he actually do for his people? Because everything before that revelation was a lie. So what did he actually do for his people? Out of his own mouth, he said he led people to a burning building. He didn't do nothing. MLK was a communist Marxist. Is 100% correct. He didn't do anything for black people. Nothing. And it's okay to say, because it's the truth. All them people that you see in front of you are controlled by the system. Every last one of them. Yes, Philly girl, I will leave it up. It will be up, Philly girl. It will be up. Thank you for giving me your time. Got one more video. I had one more video. Oh man, where's it at? Oh man, where is it at? It didn't load up. Oh man. Maybe I didn't load it up. Maybe I didn't oh yeah. Oh, it said it's still processing, huh? Okay, I got it. In order that okay. My next reaction is going to be to the story of the woman that was involved in a shooting here in Atlanta. She made it to the airport. My next live is gonna be about that. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna do her, and I'm gonna do the black. I'm glad you put it up there. I'm gonna do the black TikTok, the black TikTok therapist that got fired, you know, and so that's gonna be next. The TikTok therapist and the lady that, because lady that killed these folks in Atlanta, it's actually a great story. It's actually it's actually a movie type of story. It's crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna do that next. The TikTok girl and the woman that shot the folks in Atlanta. But let's get started.
Negro may be reached with education. In order that the Negro may be reached with education and propaganda, and that he may be organized for activity, the following methods are recommended. Nuclei shall be established in all existing Negro organizations. Colored organizers and speakers shall be sent among Negroes in order to inform them and win their confidence. Newspapers and publications shall be established. Friendship of liberal-minded Negro ministers shall be sought, as these men are at the present time the leaders of the Negro masses. Conferences on the economic conditions among Negroes shall be held from time to time with these ministers, educators, and other liberal elements, and through their influence, the party shall aim to secure a more favorable hearing before the Negro masses. Who do you think wanted to do this all the way back in 1922? Soviet communists.
I'm going to play this again so that you all can hear it again. And I want you to listen to the plan that's laid out. I'm gonna do it on Tuesday, Agadi Navis. Agadis Navi. He's laying out the plan that was implemented for the Negro in America. This guy is 100 Days of Summer. That is HUNIT days of summer. HUNIT days of summer Instagram page. But he basically is talking about the 100-year plan to use blacks to destroy America. The 100-year plan to use black people to destroy America. We're going to start again.
With education and propaganda, in order that the Negro may be reached with education and propaganda, and that he may be organized for activity, the following methods are recommended. Nuclei shall be established in all existing Negro organizations. Colored organizers and speakers shall be sent among Negroes in order to inform them and win their confidence. Newspapers and publications shall be established. Friendship of liberal-minded Negro ministers shall be sought, as these men are at the present time the leaders of the Negro masses. Conferences on the economic conditions among Negroes shall be held from time to time with these ministers, educators, and other liberal elements, and through their influence, the party shall aim to secure a more favorable hearing before the Negro masses. Who do you think wanted to do this all the way back in 1922? Soviet communists. People that look like this, actually. That picture was taken from the convention in 1922, where the document I just read was confiscated from. Back in 1922, Soviet communists had an idea to infiltrate the black community and control every aspect of our lives. But the question is, did it work?
Now, after all that you just heard, now again, you can go to his page. This is at his Instagram page is at HUNIT DAYS OFSUMMER. 100 Days of Summer on Instagram. You can go to his page and he talks about the origins of all this stuff. I've done some videos, including some of his work in it. But basically, what he's saying is all of this fight against the system, fight the power, black power stuff, all came from the communists. That's why they use the same fist. That fist you see is a communist fist. That fist is communism. So all these black organizations that you see follow under the same guys. They all believe in communism. And so I remember telling somebody this recently, and they didn't believe it. I'm like, but you saying you don't believe it, but do you know it's not true? Like the Russians knew all these years ago, the Russians knew that black people in America are the easiest to use. We can use black people the easiest. For them to have this plan like this, they must have thought that we were gullible, we were emotional, we were weak, we were weak-minded, we were unorganized. Every bad trait is displayed in their action plan to even think they could get us to do this. They had to think very lowly of a group of people to think that we're going to use them to destroy America for our benefit. We're going to use them to make America communist. So that means we're going to get black people to do all this stuff that's not in their best interest. And so all these years later, it worked. He asked the question, did it work? It worked. Now we're going to listen to Malcolm X talk about who controls the black community. And I promise you, I saw this before I saw this Malcolm X clip last year, 2 years ago. I said that white liberals control black people. How did I know this? Because I saw all these black people tearing up the streets, but when they got asked what they wanted, they never could give an answer. I said, well, who's telling these folks to go out here and steal these lace fronts and these bundles and these PS5s and these flat screens? Who's telling black people to go out? Because clearly they have to be given it. If I ask you, what do you want to achieve by this, and you can't tell me, that means you're following orders. So who had all these white people, black people, excuse me, running out in these streets, tearing stuff up? Then come to find out, George Soros is the one that runs Black Lives Matter. Now it starts to make sense. And George Soros was a communist, so to speak, a Nazi. George Soros used to round his own people up for the Nazis. So it makes sense. So you ask, has this plan worked? It's worked. What would make these Russians think in 1922 that they could get black people in America to fall for such a plan? What would make them think that? That means they had to observe black folks and be like, you know what? We can use them because they'll go for it. They'll go for it. And then somebody in the meeting said, you mean the kings and the queens? They said, yeah, the kings and the queens, they'll go for it. Think about our entire identity that involves us fighting against the system, because our entire identity is the civil rights movement, Black Panthers, Malcolm X, MLK, Fred Hampton, Medgar Evers, yada, yada. That's our whole identity in fighting against the system. That whole identity is false. That whole identity was an orchestrated plot and plan put on by the Soviet communists. And then it reared its ugly head again with Black Lives Matter, and we fell for it again. We fell for the same thing 60-something years later, after we saw all the damage the civil rights movement did, after we saw all the damage that other stuff did, we fell for it again. So I'm under the inclination that you can't blame white folks. History is repeating itself, not because of white people, because of y'all. Because it takes character to not repeat history. It takes character to say why, or ask, why is the Black Power fist the same as the communist fist? That takes character. Let's hear what Malcolm X said.
It worked.
If you study the structure of the Negro community, economically, politically, civically, psychologically, and otherwise, it's controlled by the white liberal, who usually poses as the friend of the Negro.
When did they begin their infiltration and how did they befriend us? The CP, the Communist Party, was one of the first left groups, left-wing leftist groups, to take up the issue of racism and oppression. During the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, the Communist Party made great strides in the area of union desegregation, public education about racial injustice, and legal support for civil rights activities. That's how they became our friend. They told us that they would help us fight against racism. What Malcolm X says is they infiltrated all of our organizations in every aspect of our life, and in doing so, they actually stop us from becoming liberated.
So you see what happened? You see what they do? They come to you and they tell you, we're on your side to fight against racism. This is why I say anybody fighting against racism is working for the system. There's a reason why I say this. Anybody fighting against racism is working for the system, because to fight against racism is an approved plan of action. They're not censoring folks on social media who are talking about racism. They're not censoring folks on social media who are against racism. They're not censoring activists against racism on social media. So social media, which is the system, a part of the system, is saying clearly, you can talk about racism. You can talk about white people. You can be against systemic racism. You can be against racist America. But if you have any other talking point that's counter to that, you're going to be censored. So in other words, if you say America is racist, we'll leave your account alone. In fact, we'll promote it. But if you say America is not racist, we're going to censor your account. Same system. It's the same system. The same system is saying, you can fight against me and I'll look out for you. But if you say there's no racism, I'm going to shut you down. The irony of Black people calling me a sellout, a coon, and my favorite bootlicker, but then when they get mad at what I say, they go and report me to Zaddy Zuckerberg. Isn't that ironic? That the same folks calling me a sellout are running to the white person complaining about me. The same people that's telling me that I'm catering and pandering to white people are the very same people running to Zaddy Zuckerberg and telling him Blanche is over there being bad. Yeah, he speaks low. He's speaking low. I'm trying to turn the volume up though. Try to turn the volume up so you all can hear him. But let's get back to what we were saying. Let's get back to it.
Southern factors pose as white liberals. They pose as your friends. They infiltrate all your organizations. And in this manner, by joining you, they strangle your militant efforts toward freedom, toward justice, and toward equality.
The people that have said that they were helping us with racism and oppression are actually the ones holding us back from overcoming the symptoms of racism and oppression. That's why Malcolm X said that they were the worst enemy to America as well as the black man, because communists hate America and they're using us to destroy their enemy. Fast forward to last year, what do we get? Black Lives Matter with the Black Fist, communist organization. Remember Patrisse Cullors? She says that she was a organizer.
I'm a trained organizer.
Where did Patrisse Cullors say that she was trained? Who trained her?
The Labor Community Strategy Center is my first political home.
Started by an old friend of mine,
Yes,
Eric Mann.
Eric Mann, that's my mentor.
Eric Mann was her mentor. Who is Eric Mann? Eric Mann is a communist from the 60s. So we saw that the agenda, as stated, was that the white communists will send a colored organizer and a speaker to us to win our confidence. Eric Mann, white communist. Patrisse Cullors, colored organizer. Did she win our confidence? I believe so. They raised $90 million last year. The biggest movement that has ever happened in America. And how did they do it? How did they win us? How did they get us on their side? They said that they were helping us fight against racism and oppression. This has been happening to us since the 20s, and we still haven't wisened up yet.
Kind of got to ask yourself this. It says,
so now we see that Patrisse Cullors said that she's a trained Marxist. She said, we're trained Marxists, we're organizers. We got to organize. That's communism talk, comrades, communism talk. So basically, Black Lives Matter, factually and truthfully, is a pro-trans communist organization. The LGBTQP, X, Y, and Z community, they're all communists as well. The agenda is a communist agenda because they don't believe in you having rights. They don't believe in you having freedoms. They believe in you doing what you're told to do. That's why they want to infiltrate every facet of society. They want control. So now we see that Black Lives Matter, whose one article I read said they raised $10 billion. And I believe it's in the billions because at one point in time, the entire planet was sending money to Black Lives Matter and wasn't nobody watching the books. And the same Act Blue that controls the Democratic funding is the same company that controls Black Lives Matter funding, the same group. So Black Lives Matter is not only a pro-trans communist organization, but it's also a pro-democrat, pro-trans, pro-communist, pro-liberal organization, all under the guise of helping Black people, but it's actually there to further push Black people to slavery. Not just stop progress and efforts. Progress for the Black community stopped in the 1970s. In 1970, progress in Black America stopped. That ain't their goal. Their goal is the Black Lives Matter goal is to put Black folks back into bondage. So when I'm talking about all this stuff, understand I'm not emotional about being Black because I'm not Black. And what woke me up was when Joe Biden said, if you don't know who to vote between me or Donald Trump, then you aren't Black. Excuse me. If you don't know who to vote for between me and Donald Trump, then you ain't Black. And when he said that, that thing shook me to the core. I said, who is this guy to tell me who I am based on me listening to him or not? That changed my whole, it made me make these shirts. I ain't Black, I'm free. It changed my whole perspective on Blackness. And I realized it's a control mechanism. It's a system of control. And the irony of me having hope in my people, the irony of me having hope in my people to say, there's no way Black people are going to vote for a guy that would dare say, if you didn't vote for him, you ain't Black. And you know what we did? We went out and we broke the record. That's when I knew it was over. That's when I knew it was over. So now we see that these Russians saw that we were the most gullible, simple-minded, weak, uneducated, ununified, undisciplined people on the planet to think they could take down the most powerful nation using black people. And some of y'all gonna say, that's a compliment. It's not. It's not. It's only a testament to how emotional black people are. That black people will go to the ends of the earth off of emotion, not character, not principle, not honor, not dignity, not faith. Black people will go to the ends of the earth off of something that is only a figment of their imagination. They said we can dangle that carrot in front of them. We're going to get rid of racism. All the while, they're perpetuating it at this very same time. And now we fast forward and black people still support Black Lives Matter. All this propaganda has one agenda in mind, and that's to get not just you, black people, everybody into slavery. They know, and the Russians knew, that black people have the influence. They don't have the character, they got the influence. We're going to use black people. And guess what? Those same people are going to use you to push that LGBTQ, don't forget X, Y, and Z community agenda onto the children. They're going to use it to push the climate change. And they're ultimately going to use it to push the mark of the beast. They're going to use black people because every race of people has a gift, but you all's gift was influence. The only problem was they lied to you and told you you didn't have to have any character. To whom much is given, that much more is required. So you all had a gift of influence, and you were supposed to influence the world to follow God. You were supposed to influence the world to love each other. But instead, you all are going to be used to destroy the world. The same way the Russians wanted black people to destroy America, and which is going to happen, it will be the same way when it comes to the world. And by the time you all realize what's happened, it's going to be too late. One more thing and I'm gone. One more react and I'm gone.
The majority of black babies are being born, 72% are being born to unmarried mothers. Now, between 1890 and 1960, I want to say this again, between 1890 and 1960s, the marriage rate was 80%, which was actually higher, which was a higher percentage than all of white America. And so look at the time period between 1890 and 1960. That means that through Jim Crow, we were married. Through the Great Depression, we were married.
70 years.
Think about it. Yeah, we were married through Jim Crow. We were married through the Great Depression. We were married.
But what's your end goals? Like, what do y'all want to be? Do you guys want to be somebody's wife? What do you want to be?
So sometimes I don't really know if I necessarily want to get married.
You want to have kids?
I do want to have kids, but I'm not sure if I want to get married.
You want to have kids, but you don't know if you want to get married. So that means that you already going to be, you're planning to already bring this child into and have a deficit in their life, right?
I mean, I feel like if I find the right person, we could get married. Sometimes I don't really have a lot of faith in
But do you have to find the right person to have the baby?
I do think.
Let's play that one more time.
We're going to talk about Judaism and
in order that the Negro may be reached, that the Eric man, white dollars up. And how did they do it? How did they win us? How did they get it happening?
This, it says the kind of got to ask yourself this. It says the majority of black babies are being born, 72% are being born to unmarried mothers. Now, between 1890 and 1960, I want to say this again, between 1890 and 1960s, the marriage rate was 80%, which was actually higher, which was a higher percentage than all of white America. And so look at the time period between 1890 and 1960. That means that through Jim Crow, we were married. Through the Great Depression, we were married.
70 years.
Through the, think about it. Yeah, we were married through Jim Crow. We were married through the Great Depression. We were married.
But what's your end goals? Like, what do y'all want to be? Do you guys want to be somebody's wife? What do you want to be?
So sometimes I don't really know if I necessarily want to get married.
You want to have kids?
I do want to have kids, but I'm not sure if I want to get married.
You want to have kids, but you don't know if you want to get married. So that means that you already going to be, you're planning to already bring this child into and have a deficit in their life, right?
I mean, I feel like if I find the right person, we could get married. Sometimes I don't really have a lot of faith.
But do you have to find the right person to have the baby?
I do think.
Again, this is Black culture.
We're going to talk about Judaism and
this is Black culture. Black culture is, I don't have faith in marriage as if you don't determine whether the marriage works or not. No accountability. This is why blackness is white supremacy. Because blackness doesn't deal with being self-accountable. It just doesn't. It's always white people's fault. If we got married during slavery, let y'all tell it, at the risk of death, we got married during slavery. We got married after slavery. We got married during the Great Depression. We got married through Jim Crow. We got married through segregation. We got married all the way up until all that stuff ended. Well, help me out. How did we stop getting married when America got better? How did we stop getting married when America got better? It doesn't make any sense. But I'll tell you how. Because we adopted a liberal ideology. Joe Biden told you that there was a liberal world agenda. Meaning their goal is to make the world liberal. If the world is liberal, you don't believe in things like family and community. You don't believe in being accountable and responsible. So what happened was they convinced Black people that it was white people's fault. Don't pray to God. Don't have any faith. Don't believe. It's white people's fault. And Black folks took it and ran with it. They said they brought the guns to the hood. Did you have to use them? They brought the drugs to the hood. Did you have to use them? See, what you all are saying is that if the devil tempts me, I can succumb, dear Lord, because I got tempted. I was in church this whole time talking about the devil tempting you, the devil tempting the devil. In the moment the devil really tempts you, you fell for it. Yeah, this will be on YouTube. This will be on YouTube. It's called the React to Black something. I can't really see the title, but it's a React video. It's a React video. You'll be able to watch it. But now we've gone from getting married in secrecy during slavery to saying, I want to be a baby mama. We went from risking our lives to get married during slavery to saying, I want to be a baby mama. And there's no white folks telling y'all not to get married. There's no white people saying don't get married. What white person is saying, dear Black folks, don't get married? Nobody. Y'all are choosing not to get married because you don't have any character. That's Black culture. Black culture says being a baby mama is a badge of honor. Black culture says having a whole bunch of babies as a man, as long as you're balling, is good. having a whole bunch of babies, as long as you made some pretty babies, is good. The bar is very low for our people. It's very low. It's low. No honor, no nothing. I had my cousin arguing with me, talking about that the family structure was destroyed by white supremacy. I was like, no, it wasn't. We got married during the height of white supremacy, slavery. We still got married at over almost 100%. Remember jumping the broom? It's funny how black folks brag about something and celebrate it and then say it didn't happen. We were jumping the broom, fighting to get married, but white folks ruined marriage. It don't make any sense because it's not true. To be black is to be controlled. To be black is to live a lie. And if you're living a lie, you will never get good results. So black people will never unify, will never come together, will never be free, ever. It will never happen. Because black people weren't meant to unify. Black people weren't meant to come together. Black people weren't meant to be free. Black people were meant to be controlled. And everybody else knows it. The Jews know it. The communists know it. The liberals know it. The Democrats know it. Probably even the aliens even know it. When the aliens come down here, they're going to talk to black people first. It's sad. And you're going to think it's a badge of honor. The aliens spoke to me first, not realizing they're coming to destroy the planet. Listen, I love you all. Thank you all so much. Somebody said, who came up with housing and government assistance? Well, all that stuff started from the Great Depression. The welfare system came from the Great Depression when folks didn't have any work and the country was in a, and the people weren't making any money. That's where all that assistance stuff came from. It came from the Great Depression. That's where it came from. So it didn't come from black people. It came from the country being in shambles. It came from the American people. So I'm just, just trying to understand. I don't understand the questions, but that's where it came from. Child support, the same thing. Child support came from fathers not taking care of their children. Same thing. And we suffer the we're gonna always suffer the most. Because we don't want to look in the mirror and say, you know what? Ask the question, what role am I playing in this? Mirror, mirror on the wall, whose fault is it? And the mirror's gonna reply, it's all your fault. And we're gonna break the mirror. We're gonna shatter the mirror and then get 7 more years of bad luck. And then once that 7 years of bad luck is over, we get the mirror up again and we ask the same question. Mirror, mirror on the wall, whose fault is it? And the mirror gonna say, it's all your fault. We're gonna shatter it again and get 7 more years of bad luck and keep going on and on and on and on and on. Somebody said that supports and encourages our families to split. No, it doesn't. It doesn't support your families to split. It doesn't. Nobody's telling you to get on welfare. White people are not telling you all to get on welfare. When white folks talk against welfare, you all call them racist. So don't tell me it's white people. When white people speak out against government assistance, you all call them racist. So don't say it's white people. They're not encouraging nothing. Y'all are told every day to go out there and get it off the muscle. Y'all get told that message every single day. It's all kind of pages and hashtags on black love, getting married, black unity. This message is preached all the time, every single day. So there's no theme out there telling y'all not to have a family. Nothing. Y'all don't want to do it because it requires character. So stop blaming white folks. Stop blaming the system and look in the mirror. You heard the woman. She said, I don't have faith in marriage. I just want the children. I don't care about the man. I want the child. I want somebody I can control. Something that's going to love me. You heard the woman. She didn't mention the white people. She didn't mention the system. You heard what she said. I want the children. I ain't never heard a black woman that talk like this. Most of them do. They want the child ever say the system made me do it. They want the child. They want to be independent. Look at this person in here. Another. This I'm talking about, a victim. White people control where we live because they control our paycheck. This is a slave mentality. This is a slave. How do white people control your paycheck? How? Think about what the person is saying. Think about it just before I go. Think about it. White people are controlling our paychecks like white folks ain't cutting a check for everybody. White folks are controlling everybody's paycheck. It's just the most juvenile, immature, low vibrational, low character, no self-reflecting responses you get from black people, and got the nerve to say general in the name of their title. This is what I mean, people. This is the bLACK. It's the bLACK. No accountability, no self-accountability, zero. In here making excuses. If you want to make more money, then do something to make more money. If you don't want to be on welfare, then do something to not be on welfare. These are simple solutions. These are simple solutions that require character. But the problem is, with most black people, the solutions are never, ever character-based. That's why none of this stuff ever works. It's never going to work. That's right. The same people playing victims are the same ones reporting it's the same people. They get mad at what I say and they report my videos. And all they got to do is not come on my page. When it came time to riot, look at this. Whites own all the corporations we work for. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe that white people own all the corporations we work for? All of them? You think so? Y'all believe that? So there's no other race of people in America that own corporations. Is that what we're saying? Do y'all believe it? Who believes that statement? Who believes the statement that white people control all the corporations that we work for? Who believes that? Who believes it? Nobody. Because you done seen CEOs that wasn't white of a whole bunch of companies. Of a whole bunch of companies. You done seen CEOs that were not white. Again, victim mentality. Weak-minded, low character, low vibrational, path of least resistance, no accountability. Don't look at the mirror. That's what I'm talking about. This is the bLACK. That's why I'm doing my class. It's the bLACK. It's mental bondage. This person just told a bold-faced lie with so much confidence. Get in front of a whole room of people, tell a lie, and get a standing ovation. It's all a lie. Not even true. And I can prove it's not true. I can prove it's not true. This was the purpose of white supremacy, was for you to be black, for you to wake up every day and blame somebody else, for you to wake up every day, never say, I put my destiny in my own hands. You wake up every day saying it's white people's fault. Joe Biden got on TV and said, get this snake bite or else. And there was not one protest. I saw white people protesting all around the world in America. I saw white people protesting what Biden said. the author of every crime bill since 1978, white people were protesting when he said, get the jab or else. No black person was protesting. Why didn't black people protest what Joe Biden said? You know why? Because it's not true. None of this stuff is true. It's all propaganda. It's a lie. And deep down inside, we know it. The only way to progress is for you to look in that mirror and say, I'm going to progress. That is the only way. Any other solution will never work. I love you all. Thank y'all so much. I will see you all very soon, probably on Tuesday. I got a great one on Tuesday, though. The story of that girl in Atlanta that shot them people, the story is like it's like a movie on Netflix. I promise you it's going to be good. The breakdown of that story is going to be so good. It's excellent. Oh, my goodness. So tune in on Tuesday for that reaction. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. All right, YouTube. Love y'all.